tracing historical origin of how sunnah was preserved. Over the last couple of weeks, as you know, we have been successful in tracing and highlighting, the efforts, tremendous efforts of our scholars of the past regarding the preservation of sunnah, and of course the strict criteria they applied to preserve sunnah. The significance of the lesson lies in the fact that to provide at least strong ground, if you like, for those who are critiquing sunnah, who are saying that there is no need to Quran is sufficient. They don't see any reason why they must read from sunnah, because basically it was forced. So over the last few weeks, we have been able to, respond positively to their allegations by highlighting the efforts of our scholars of the past in preservation of sunnah. We have shown that scholars of the past, especially ulama al-hadith, that is expert of hadith, they managed to preserve sunnah by, adopting some strong, by providing strict methodologies of, critiquing the chains and sometimes narrators of the hadith. So, to defend sunnah, these people, classified hadith of the Prophet ﷺ based on various considerations. We have seen how a hadith, that is the narrations of the Prophet, were divided based on the number of narrators in each chain, and sometimes based on reliability and strength of the memory of the reporters. Sometimes, depending on the hidden defect, that is illa in the isnad, and sometimes depending on whether the hadith was forged or not. So let's quickly have a recap of what we've done. So we said that hadith can be categorized based on acceptance and rejection into how many categories? Sorry? It can be classified based on rejection and acceptance into two. Yeah, into mardud and maqbul. So maqbul is accepted and what? And mardud rejected. But before that, we say it can be categorized into based on the number of reporters in each chain into what? Mutawatir and ahad. What is mutawatir? We've said that any hadith that was reported by a minimum of 5 reporters in what? In every chain of the isnad, from the beginning to the end. But by contrast, what is ahad? Well, any hadith that does not qualify to be mutawatir. In other words, any hadith that was reported by people less than, by reporters less than 5 in each stage of the isnad. We have also gone so far in categorizing ahad as well. So we've seen that they are also classified into how many groups? Into 3. We have number 1, gharib. That is any hadith that was reported by a minimum. We had a minimum of 1 reporter from the beginning of the chain, and we had aziz, a minimum of 2 reporters in the beginning, and mashhur, a minimum of So when we came back to categorization of hadith based on acceptance and rejection, that is maqbul and mardud. Maqbul, we have how many groups? Of course, that is maqbul. It was the hadith that was classified based on the acceptance, and from that it was focusing on the reliability of the memory of the reporter. So we saw hadith Hasan Bidati, Hasan lidatihi, of course, it was the hadith that was reported by a reporter, narrated by a reporter who had some 5 qualities, which are trustworthy, reported by a trustworthy reporter, and of course, the chain must be connected from the beginning to the end, and of course, his memory must be very strong, and of course, the hadith must be free from any illness, and it must be compatible with the narrations of other reporters. So any hadith that qualifies to be that satisfy these 5 conditions is called what? Hasan lidatihi. By contrast, Hasan lighayrihi is any hadith that has that has these 5 conditions. Only that the difference is in condition number 2. That is the strength of the memory of reporter is what? Is weak. Okay? Yeah. So if it can be substantiated, it can be corroborated, that is supported by other reporters, then it is of course what? It is Hasan Sahih lighayrihi. But if it could not be supported, then it is Hasan lidatihi. And later we talk about rejection. That is the second category. That is classification of hadith based on rejection. And on that note, we say rejected ahadith are those ahadith that are disqualified by expert of ahadith based on some reasons, which we mentioned as well. Any hadith, if any of the 5 conditions or 6 conditions mentioned earlier on is missing in any hadith, then that hadith is what? Is da'if, or we can say it is mardud. It is rejected hadith. But further, we classify mardud into da'if, mawdu', mudha'af, and all that. So, in last time in our series, we talked about hadith da'if. So let's quickly recap that. What is hadith da'if? Yeah, any hadith. If any one of these 5 conditions is is missing in any of the hadith, then of course that hadith is what? Is da'if. So if you found that there is a hadith but the reporter is missing, okay, or there was a hidden illah in the isnad, or it was found to be incompatible with the narrations of other reporters, then of course this is hadith da'if. We gave several examples last time. So today we want to move forward to talk about the collections, that is the books, where hadith da'if is to be found. So if I ask you, where can I find hadith da'if? So the answer is simple. Just go to any of these collections, you will find it. Number 1, we have Al-Kamil fi al-Du'afa. Al-Kamil fi al-Du'afa by Ibn Adi. Of course, this is a comprehensive book, okay, in which the author of Ibn Adi managed to gather all da'if hadith he could lay his hand on. And of course, we have Al-Marasil by Abu Dawud Sajistani. It was only second to Kamil fi al-Du'afa. And finally, we have Ilal by Dar al-Qutri. All these 3 books are considered to be the most comprehensive source of hadith da'if. So you don't need to panic if you ask me, how can we find hadith da'if? You don't need to work it yourself. All you have to do is just go and consult any of these books, and of course you'll find it. Next in the list is what? Al-Mawdu'. Al-Mawdu', as you see, basically it was just technical, it was included here based on technical categorization. Otherwise, it was not even a hadith because it was forged. It was simply a lie. It was not hadith. Okay? Yes, but just to preserve, to maintain the consistency. So ulama of hadith scholars decided just to include it as a category. Otherwise, it's not even hadith. Any hadith that is absolutely forged and attributed to the Prophet ﷺ without him saying it. So that hadith was al-mawdu' from wudi'a. It was just attributed for no reason. It was just a lie. In fact, it is not even hadith. It was, in the first place, it is not even a hadith. Okay? It is a concocted lie which has no link whatsoever with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Of course, I have known that this is one of the most dangerous hadith of all times because it contains lies and baseless claims of narrators, and of course baseless elements of institutions that are connected to religion without any reason. So some people forge, as we will see in the subsequent slide, that there are some reasons which pushed some people into forging a hadith, this kind of mawdu'. So most of the forged hadith are of this category. So there is no reason now. There is no reason for anyone to continue criticizing sunnah or critiquing sunnah as being forged, because we have made it clear that there is a category for that. That is al-mawdu'. Al-mawdu' is the division of hadith that contains all the forged, all lies attributed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's see this. When you talk about al-mawdu', okay, then of course there must be some reasons why this mawdu' were created, were forged, were concocted in the first place. So, number one, the first item on the list, of course, is political reason. Most of these mawdu'at were forged in the first place for political gains, political agenda of the narrators. For example, as immediately, or we can say after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a kind of political crisis, within Muslim community, as to who will be his first successor, as you all know the history. Abu Bakr, of course, was finally chosen. But of course, there are some people out there who are thinking that Ali should be taken. So, in the process, some unscrupulous narrators decided to forge some hadiths to support the candidature of Ali, I would say. So, let's see this. It is, in fact, ridiculous. This is just a typical example of forged hadiths. Ali is the best human being ever. Whoever disagrees with that is kafir. Look at this. Ali, أفضل البشر أو خير البشر. من شك في ذلك فقد كفر. Look at this. What this implies, who will tell us? What does this imply? Sorry? Yeah, that Ali must be the first candidate, because anyone who disagrees with his candidature is kafir. Not even, it went to the extent of taking you out of the circle of Islam, for that matter, but because you disagree with Ali. Look at it. Just come to think of it. And look at another ridiculous, item out there. The trustworthy of all mankind are three. Look, myself, Angel Jibril, and of course Muawiyah. So all the people of the world have no value, if you like. They are not trustworthy, they are all liars, except of course these three. Myself, that is the Prophet, Angel Jibril, and Muawiyah. This in support of who?
Muawiyah.
In defense of Muawiyah. So if followers of Ali decided to champion their campaign with nice hadith number one, then of course, on the other hand, we saw people of Muawiyah trying to challenge them by creating something similar. So I think the system, in fact, is what? It's ridiculous. So this is just a classic example of how, hadiths were forged for political agenda. Let's quickly see this. We have another reason, that is hatred for Islam. Some people who are called Zanadiqa. There are some people who were actually not Muslims, but they decided to hide themselves under the banner of Islam for their, to either to safeguard their blood, to safeguard themselves not to be killed as munafiqun. So they decided to show themselves or to portray themselves in different color, basically to be Muslims. And at times they even marry Muslims, they even fight alongside Muslims for that matter. But deep down they are not Muslims. Okay? So under the surface, they're just hiding kufr, but trying to show they are Muslims, that they are not revealing themselves in what? In their true color. Next, we have supporting madhab. Some people decided to forge a hadith to support their madhab. You know madhab. How many madhab do we have? Yeah. So each and every people has some way of supporting their madhab. So the only way to support their madhab for some, it will just simply to forge a hadith in that regard. And for some, the only reason to they forge a hadith to encourage people to become, for example, Sufis. Sufis are those people who decided to drive themselves away from all the luxuries, from all the to be deep in their religiosity. Well, they think that everything, even if it is halal, but they found it unreasonable to be engaged in taking too much halal and all that. So they engage in applying that austerity measure, in dealing with themselves, with their families, and of course in conducting their lives. So to justify, if you like, what they are doing is to they now decided to concoct, to create, to forge some hadiths to support what they are doing. And of course, finally, we have some people who decided to forge a hadith for material gain. So we have some scholars, they have no money to spend, of course. They decided to establish contact with muluk. Muluk in those days were known to be wealthy, that is, kings or rulers, monarchs. So the only way to get money from them is what? Is by creating a hadith and supporting them, in supporting their mulk, their monarch. So this is the second reason for that. Final question is where to find mawdu. If we want to find hadith mawdu, where should we go? Of course, in defense of sunnah, scholars of hadith exerted tremendous effort to preserve sunnah, and of course to gather all forged hadith in one place to facilitate, to make it easier for the subsequent generation, fishing out those dubious hadith. So the excellent collections for reading or for finding hadith al-mawdu'a is what? Number one, we have al-mawdu'a by Ibrahim Ilyasu. This is one of the best and one of the most comprehensive, and of course the oldest, one of the oldest collections ever produced in this regard. So Ibrahim Ilyasu decided to gather all lives attributed to the Prophet ﷺ in one place for the subsequent generation to read easily, like myself. This is one of the oldest, as I said, and comprehensive book to consult with engagement. Some scholars, however, criticize Ilyasu for including some hadith. Well, it is a human endeavor, and of course it is subject to oversight and mistakes. So somehow, some way, Ibn al-Jawzi made some mistakes. His intention basically was to gather only mawdu'at in one place, but in the process, unintentionally, he included some hadiths which are known to be da'if, and not only that, at times he even included some hadiths sahihah in his book. But this is of course a previous mistake. It was something that scholars like Ibn Hajar, of subsequent generation, decided to make a note of, decided to reveal and of course to explain in detail those mistakes and to make a note of that fact. For this reason, we found a Suyuti, Ibrahim Ilyasu, okay, maybe because from the tarikh, that is the time, the time frame, or I can say